All right, let's do this. Yo, Sneak This Podcast, episode 408. Obviously, no George, but Greg is in the building. We're doing a closet episode this week. Unable to get to the studio. As many of you have seen, my son and my wife are in Spain for him for soccer training and to have to play a few games or whatnot. So it is just me and my daughter for the rest of the week, which has been awesome. So I'm unable to get to the studio, but I wanted to make sure that we get an episode out this week. Appreciate everybody who likes, subscribe, share this podcast. No top 10 list today. Got a few topics to discuss. Hopefully not too long of an episode, but always want to try to make sure that we get something out for you guys. In your commute, work, help you guys get through that work week much more easier. As I mentioned earlier, my son is in Spain. I'm extremely proud of him. He's out there kicking butt. I'm appreciative of my wife being the one out there, not me. A lot of people have been asking, why didn't I go? It was one of those things where it was just, the focus is him. It isn't about who goes, who takes him or whatnot, but my wife and her sister went, so he has that support system there, and he's been out there doing his thing, and I think it's talking to my wife just a little while ago, it helps with that responsibility. She says he has been incredibly on top of everything and super responsible, not irresponsible, super responsible and taking care of business. So as a father, that's what you want to make sure, your kids understand, especially with the world today, everything is just up in the air. So, the goal is to just make sure that we make, solid citizens as much as we can and, people who care about themselves, care about others, and, understand how important opportunities that are for him. So he's taking advantage of these opportunities, and I appreciate everybody who's, sent messages and commented on his videos and stuff like that. He scored 2 goals out there since he's been out there. And he's just sort of doing his thing. So, all right. So obviously we start every single episode with pickups, unboxings, releases, and stuff like that. I don't have, actually, you know what? Pickups. I don't have any pickups because, like I said, I'm not buying anything for the year 2026. I have stuck to it. I've had some close calls. You can't, fix an attic, overnight. But, I'm going to tell you, going through the releases for today, it's going to be hard to not cop anything in the next few weeks. So I'm just going to give you guys that heads up right now. So if you catch me with any of these releases that I talk about, soon mind your own business. But I got no pickups. I've been undsing a lot of stuff, and I have been undsing a lot of hats. During that COVID year, I mean, we all went crazy with the hats. Hat Club was booming. I think more places and more, sports places started focusing on hats and, hat pins and whatnot. And I'm one of the people who fell into it and bought an overabundance of hats. I've given away a lot of hats to friends. A lot of the young cats, give them a lot of hats that I'm not going to wear. But I've decided I'm going to start undsing some hats and stuff like that, undsing some sneakers. I've been undsing a lot of Vans lately. Some Adidas and stuff lately, shout out to Adidas, and whatnot. So, usually I do an unboxing. I didn't prepare anything to unbox today, so I think I'm going to pass on it unless there's something that I could grab real quick, which, there isn't. I thought about unboxing a Vans Tyler the Creator golf wing joint. I didn't even know I had it. It's got some funny symbols on it that I just really don't want to, I really don't want to, really want to showcase that, a lot of upside down crosses and weird stuff on his stuff. I get it. He was probably young at the time and stuff like that just don't jive with me. So I don't even feel comfortable having it in the closet. Um, yeah, I don't think I'll do an unboxing today. I really don't have much to show today. So for those watching the video, like I said, usually I do an unboxing every episode in the closet. But not today. So audio listeners, you are good for the moment. So all right, let's do releases. All right. We got a lot to talk about today, a few things to touch on today that was pretty popular on social media the past week or two. And we'll get to it. So for releases, I'm gonna go. I'll just stop at some point. I don't know. We got the Converse Shy, the 001 001 pink. Um, I mean, it's just one of my favorite sneakers. Like the SGA, the Shy one, it needs to be considered up there with top debut signature sneakers of all time. It really does. And I know a lot of you look at it, and a lot of you probably haven't seen it in person. Go to your local Dick's Sporting Goods. They got them. Go to you know, your shops. They have them in the store. I know you look online, and a lot of them are sold out. You look on Sneakers app, and they're sold out. No, they're at your shops. Go look at them, hold them in hand, try them on, and I'm telling you, it is a phenomenal sneaker. Now, this pink colorway, it's a little bit too light for me. If you're gonna go monochrome all the way through on a basketball sneaker with pink, it got to be a little bit darker to me. If this was a Van or a Dunk or a shell toe or something like that, then this pink would be perfect. But it's a little bit light for a basketball. You know what? I'm gonna bring up something else too. I feel like a lot of people just ain't paying attention in sneakers and paying attention to a lot of things, which is, one reason and aspect of this podcast that we try to do is just introduce different perspective, different viewpoints. It gives people the opportunity to hear more than just surface level. But SGA and Anthony Edwards have been killing it when it comes to not necessarily the rollout of their sneaker, but like the handling of their sneaker. And I think that's very important to discuss because I watch a lot of NBA. I watch a lot of basketball. All right. And whenever I watch SGA or Anthony Edwards on the court, they are always, it is almost it's always, I'm not going to say almost, it is always a guarantee that they are wearing a colorway of their sneaker that you and I can go buy at the store. I think that's really important. I feel like a lot of the Nike athletes are wearing too many PEs. And for those who don't know what PE, player editions, they're wearing too many colorways of sneakers that the consumer don't have access to. I think it really matters to see the athlete playing their sport in what the consumer can buy. I watched Thunder Nuggets the other night. SJ's out there wearing these pink 001s. I watched him play a few nights ago. He was wearing the gray ones. He was wearing the brown ones. He was wearing the all black, the all white. He wore the red ones on Christmas. All of those are pairs that we had or have the opportunity to still pick up. I think that is key. You watch Anthony Edwards play. I watched him play Lakers the other night. He's wearing the colorways that we can go buy. Even if they're sold out, we can still get our hands on them. They're not unobtainable. He wears the royal blues. He wears the OG color, that the first colorway that came out in the 002. He wears the pinks. He wears the green. He wears all of the ones that the consumer can buy. And I think that's really important. Honestly, if I was Nike, I would start talking to their athletes like, hey, I need you to wear these ones, these GRs, general releases. I need you to start wearing these ones that the consumer can buy. That's cool that you have a specialty pair that like social media and sneaker blogs go, whoa, that's cool. But if the consumer can't get it, it almost kills the reason to go buy the general release pair. If I see my favorite athlete wearing a better pair than I can have, then it sort of defeats it. I hope that makes sense. I mean, basically what I'm saying is that athletes on their brands need to wear the pairs, the colorways that the consumer can wear. I think the only pair I've seen SGA wear that wasn't a pair that the consumer can buy was the night opening night ring ceremony. I think he was wearing a white and gold pair for the first game of the season, which is understandable. They just won the championship last season. So having a specialty pair for that particular reason makes a lot of sense. But if you watch the Thunder on any night, he's got the brown pair on, the gray pair, the white pair, the all black, the all blue, the pink. I think that is really, really important. So I'm gonna tell you, SGA and Ant, they're killing it out here. And these Nike athletes, you need something. All right. What else come out this week? We have a New Balance 993 made in USA passion fruit. Um, I'm not mad at these. I'm not a super fan of the 993. I prefer the 992. The 993 looks very similar to the 992, but I like this colorway. I think this colorway came out last year on another pair of New Balances. I'm not exactly sure what model it was, but I like this colorway. What else we got? Looks like we have a Nike Cudi 18 Chet Holmgren pack. There's a Thunder and Rain purple and cheetah pair, and then there is a camo pair. Um, I've noticed this. Like I said, I watch a lot of NBA, and I've noticed this with Chet and I think a few other OKC players. I find it kind of weird. Maybe not weird is the right word, but I kind of find it I don't know what the word would be, but seeing current Thunder players wear KD sneakers seem a little weird to me. Um, I feel like that Thunder KD city of Oklahoma, like that Oklahoma City relationship between KD, I feel like it's really strained because he left there to go to the Warriors, which was the team that put the Thunder out to win the championship. And, ever since then, KD has been sort of the villain. Um, sort of see OKC. I can completely understand why in Oklahoma, why any athlete, regardless of playing for the Thunder, would want to wear KDs. Like KD is some of their GOAT. And KD is an Oklahoma City Thunder legend. So I completely understand it, but I kind of find that a little, I don't know, it's a little bit weird. Um, but anyways, but these two pairs, they're hideous. I mean, the camel one is okay. The purple and the cheetah print one, it is god awful. But you do whatever you want with your money. The Nike Air Muse, this is a women's pair. The Veneta Carter. Let me tell you something. This model was introduced, I think, at some point last year during sneaker app. You know how they like unveil future sneakers or future releases. Um, and the model itself, I thought back then, I thought it was something that would be good on women, and it's a women's sneaker. I thought the colorways that they introduced were awful, but I've seen a few colorways of this, and I think these are good looking sneakers. I'm actually not mad at it. This royal blue and white looks really good. Now, maybe this colorway and this blocking or whatnot is due to the fact that it looks like a collaboration with Veneta Carter. I have no idea who that is. Listeners, I know somebody's gonna message me and say, you don't know Veneta Carter? No, I don't. All right. Um, but I'm not mad at these. These are okay. We also got a Nike Tempo Street Gato SC Phantom. This is a Jordan. Jordan. I don't want to call it a collaboration, but it's a Jordan Tempo. I believe it is. I think this is the one. I've been seeing on Twitter. Let me tell you something. I'm not buying in 2026, but if you see this on my feet, mind your own business. All right. This joint is fire. To me. Looks like the KD6 peanut butter and jelly is dropping. Oh, thought I lost something. Dropping this week. That sneaker is awful. It was awful when it came out back then. I know a lot of you love to act like the KD6. Yo, the KD6. I get it. And for some of you, the KD6 was like your introduction really into sneakers. I'll be honest with you. Because a lot of cats who were really into this sneaker, they were just kind of starting out. They had a few Jordans and, you know, it was like after the whole, Galaxy run, All-Star. That's when like things were kicking up. Cats were sort of just buying any and everything at that moment. Also, the KD5 was so bad that the KD6 was like, okay, this is pretty good. Like, in comparison to the 5. But this one, it looks like a Frisbee to me. That probably makes no sense, but I love the KD logo in the back of it, though. Don't get me wrong. There are certain elements of it I do like. I do like the sort of slanted of the laces being tied, but the overall shape of the shoe is weird. I think the toe box comes up like sort of like a swoop a little bit too much for me. But if you like them, I love them. We got the Converse Cons Kentucky Denim. Now look, you have to really be into sneakers to know what these are. Me and George have talked about it on this podcast numerous times. A lot of dope fire sneakers were introduced during March Madness, during college basketball. Um, Obviously you had the NBA as well, but there was a lot, and this is when college basketball was at its peak. I'm talking about in viewership. March Madness is still at top tier, but college basketball overall. Kentucky used to come out there wearing some fire sneakers. I remember Walter McCarty, uh, shoot, I can't even think of his name, Ballhead Cat. I don't know if Antoine Walker was still there at the time. But when they came out wearing the denim jerseys and these denim Converse, and there was a period in time where Converse and Cons were go-to sneakers. Yeah, Kevin Johnson's, Larry Johnson's. The Aero Gem is one of my favorite sneakers of all time with the Converse React Juice. These had React Juice in the bottom as well, had a little Converse star with the React Juice in it. I don't know if React Juice is going to be in these. I think at some point they found out that React Juice was like, I don't know, some type of poison or something like that. But there's only a select few people who are going to know what these are and appreciate them. And I will just reiterate this. These are stupid fire. I don't know if this is something that I can pull off or anybody can pull off in 2026. But if you were there, you know what these are. You got to super respect these joints. We also looks like the retro to the Air Jordan 13. They're calling them True Reds. They're Chicago's. They're Chicago's. If you're gonna buy a Jordan 13, this is one of the Jordan 13s to buy. I'm a fan of Jordan 13s. George doesn't seem to be as much as I do. I think he respects them really high. Obviously Flint's, you got your He Got Games, if you want to call them that. And then you got your Chicago's and, your Altitude Greens. There's a few of these out here. There's been a lot of fire Jordan 13 colorways that have dropped that like a lot of people sort of overlooked. A lot of them were colorways to Jordan athletes that like people thought like, oh, they'll never come out. We've seen the orange 13s, we've seen the green Kelly Green ones, we've seen the New Orleans Hornets colorways when CP3 was there. There's been a lot of fire Jordan 13 colorways. This Chicago one, it's an OG colorway of the Jordan 13 model, and if you like Jordan 13s, this is one that you should probably buy. We also have the Angel Reese Vector Navy. Angel Reese 1, this Vector Navy colorway. This joint is super fire. Okay. The shoe itself is dope to me. I've always liked this shoe. We've talked about it on this podcast numerous times. I think we had it for Rookie of the Year last year, for a nominee for Rookie of the Year last year, which we're going to talk about sneaker award shows and things like that. Later on, we talk about Jeff Staple a little bit. But I like this colorway. I love a sneaker that has a dark outside and a white tongue, the white laces up the middle. It does something. It sort of brightens it up and it sets it off to me. We also have the Kobe 3 Protro Low Mamba Magic. We haven't talked about this that much on this podcast, the Kobe 3 Low. The Kobe 3, just the regular high, mid, whatever you want to call it, is one of the worst sneakers of all time. And period. It's definitely in the top 20, but I would probably fight to put it in the top 10. But this low top version of the Kobe 3, phenomenal. Phenomenal. I honestly think that if you come out with a better version of your original sneaker, you should no longer make the original version. This Kobe 3 Low is so good that they should never make the regular Kobe 3 High ever again. It's no need. That's how hideous the Kobe 3 High is. Looks like another Jumpman Jack TR is dropping, Green Spark. I mean, I like the shoe a lot. I think the brown colorway will always remain the best colorway, which is amazing because brown sneakers are just something that just really isn't that popular unless you're talking about like a Dunk SB or something along those lines. You're talking about just a Dunk or a Dunk SB, then brown is fine. Most likely SBs because of the suede. But when it comes to Travis Scott's, you could make the argument the brown colorway, the mocha and the one is the best out of all of them. The brown in this TR Jumpman is the best out of all of them. The low reverse mocha, whatever you want to, might be the best low. I don't know. This green spark is cool, but I think it has too much green. This joint right here is stupid fire. Nike Dunk SB Low Copperhead Deshaun Jordan. This is a local cat. Like I said, I'm not buying any sneakers in 2026, but if you catch me outside in these, mind your own business. Okay? I can't make any guarantees I won't buy these. These joints are ridiculous fire. This is one of the better SB dunks in a really long time. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the snakeskin print is done properly on these. And I think the black, the contrast to the snakeskin print, it matters. Oh, Lord have mercy. An abomination. I got the Jordan 3 Tiana Taylor Concrete Rose. This is one of the worst sneakers I've ever seen. Even if it didn't have the vines across it, it's still awful. I don't care about yours. I've already talked about this. I don't care what story you want to tie to this. I get it. And this is nothing against Tiana Taylor. Tiana Taylor is top tier. But this sneaker is too literal with the story. Having that cement at the bottom of the sneaker on the sole, on the midsole, insole, I get it because it's a story about a rose coming out of concrete. But we actually have cement 3s and cement 4s. And if Jordan Brand didn't put cement on those, none of them need cement. I told you guys, there's a lot of sneakers that I'm going to be talking about, that I'm mentioning in these releases that I like. This next one is a Saucony Pro Grid Guide 7. It looks like a pack. There's a purple citron, a green bronze, and a canary. All three of these are fire. These Sauconys, this Saucony model is ridiculous fire, and these colorways are stupid fire. Even though I'm not buying in 2026, if you catch me outside with any one of these colorways, mind your own business. I think that's all we got this week. Like I said, I don't want this to be a super duper long episode or whatnot, but I think that's enough for releases this week. Appreciate everybody who likes, subscribe, share this podcast. No top 10 list today. I couldn't think of one off the top of my head. And, I've been really busy with my daughter, spending a lot of time with each other, which is great. I feel like as a father, you should find time to spend with your kids individually, not always together. And, the hardest part about this week is just, honestly, just doing her hair. That's really the hardest part. So, I think I got a hang of it. It's a lot of brushing and a lot of tangle and, stuff like that. But as long as you got your spray bottle and your products, you're kind of good to go. So, and she's been helping me out a lot. She's becoming a little lady. So, she's trying to brush her own hair, and she's giving me instructions on what to do and how she wants her, ponytail. And, I even did a braid, so, it's been great. So, all right, let's get into these topics. A few things to talk about this week. Try to figure out, where do I want to start? Got my little list right here just to stay on track. Let's talk about Off-White in Costco. Okay. Now, it was, first of all, let me start off by saying this. It's only March, and we are talking about Costco way too much. Okay. I don't think Costco was mentioned one time on this podcast last year. It is March, and it's been brought up twice with that SB release at the Costco stores, and now Off-White being sold at Costco for $84.99. Now, I know a lot of people had probably a few reactions to this, right? Oh no, I gotta get on the website and cop as quick as possible. I get it. A lot of people were probably just more, I don't know. I don't want to say shocked, but you know what it was? People either wanted to hurry up and get on there and cop, or they just wanted to like get the word out there really quick that they saw that off-white hoodies are being sold, whatever the case may be. I don't know. The first thing I saw when I saw this was whoop. No, the first thing I thought when I saw this was whoop, wrap it up. Go ahead and wrap it up, because there's a few things that is happening here. Okay. Now I know nothing, but I have been into sneakers and clothes and everything for majority of my life. I can't remember not being in the know with sneakers and clothes and paying attention to it and what's going on and all that. I immediately I thought they're in financial trouble. I thought that since Virgil's passing, they just can't seem to reignite or maintain that interest in off-white clothing. Off-white clothing was just way too expensive. Okay. Majority of all of clothing is way too expensive. Okay. You also have just way too much competition out there when it comes to brands that are priced at your same range as an off-white. And then the competition is even harder from the brands that get you the same attention at a way lower price point. You'll never be able to convince me that just your regular essentials is not equivalent to off-white. You'll never. It's the same thing. But who pushes it and how it pushed is matter. It matters. So I originally thought they might be in some financial trouble. I know nothing. This is just me and my brain working, thinking that. I also thought that whomever is in charge of the Off-White brand, his estate, family, whatever the case may be, I think they're just sort of just don't want to do it, you know? Um it's too much work. There's a lot of people who are like under the assumption that like, hey, if I own this and I want to give it to my kids, that they want to do it. Some of them just don't want to do it. It's why you see a lot of brands. It's why you see a lot of stuff get sold down the road. It's like if I own the Phoenix Suns and then I give it down to my kids are like, man, I don't want to do this. I'm sorry, you're going to give me $8 billion for it? Here you go. Now I can just go live my life and have a blast. Same thing with Off-White. I don't think this has happened. I don't think I've missed this news, but don't be shocked if Off-White is sold to JD Sports or sold to, you know, Nike, or maybe not Nike, but sold off somewhere. We've seen it happen many times, many years. I couldn't tell you the last time I seen anybody outside wearing Off-White. And if they were wearing Off-White, it's so underwhelming that I could just didn't pay attention to it, because there's just too much stuff out there available to just be like, whoa, he's wearing an Off-White hoodie. I also thought to myself, the price, $84.99, that is crazy. I'm not too familiar with the exact price points of Off-White items, but I'm pretty confident an Off-White hoodie ranged anywhere from 4 to 600. It wasn't even at Costco for $100. It was there for $84.99, which is just that additional proof that names is what matters. That sweater probably costs, which just like a lot of Off-White stuff, probably cost in the range of $8 to $15 to make, if that. It's not special material. It's not a special fit. It does nothing. It just gives people the opportunity to wear the brand Off-White and feel a little bit more special than the person who was wearing Adidas or Nike or Levi's or whatever other brands out there. That's all it's for. And this isn't rocket science. I'm not breaking anything down for any of you. Like, nothing I've said right now is like earth shattering to you guys. If you're a part of the Off-White brand and business just isn't booming like it may have been at one point, or whoever's running the business is just like, I don't feel like it anymore, I don't want to, it's just much easier to just ship all of something to Costco. You handle it. Because I did see people go, well, if they're going to sell it like this for this cheap, or they're going to do this, why didn't they just do it independently and just put it on their website and lower the prices? Well, because then they would have to handle the shipping, handle the communication, handle the packaging, handle everything. One of the benefits of sending something to Costco or like a big distribution center or things like that is that you send the product there. I mean, Costco might have even paid for the shipping. Costco says, give us all your Off-White hoodies and don't worry about it. We got it. We throw it on our website, throw it in our stores. We'll ship it. We'll sell it. We'll have the employees. We'll do all that. You just kick back and we'll just send you the check. It's much easier. I know I bring this up every single time something like this gets brought up or happens, but do not be shocked if you see Nike in a Target at some point. I'm not talking about Jordans. I'm not talking about, Dunk SBs. I'm not talking about Jaws or Giannis's. I'm talking about your general release regular Nikes. Your regular Dunks, not your SBs. Your Vomeros. The Air Maxes, the sneakers that range anywhere from 89 to 130. Don't be shocked if you catch those in a Target. They're at your Kohl's. I mean, Nike brand. Or even if it's not sneakers, some hoodies, some crew necks, some t-shirts. Why not? Levi's is at Target. I don't want to bring that discussion up again because people will call me a crazy person. You'll be seeing a lot more stuff like this soon. I promise you. This Off-White being in Costco is just not that earth-shattering. It's business. It's like, a lot of those who may not have even been alive or around or were really young, people forget like brands like Ed Hardy and Christian Audigier and stuff like that. Ed Hardy was like, sort of like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like Ed Hardy because Christian Audigier was the designer and, founder of Ed Hardy. But then it was like Christian Audigier brand was like a step above Ed Hardy. You know what I mean? Ed Hardy is now, shoot, I seen Ed Hardy I think in JD Sports. I think I seen Ed Hardy in Champs. This was stuff that was like clothes you threw on to go to the club. Like, this was your fit for the night. Like, I remember clubs had to change their rules. There was a lot of places, clubs in general, where it was like collar shirt, hard bottom shoes. They just had these rules because they thought that would keep out the riffraff. Once they saw where fashion was going, you had to let cats in with t-shirts. You had to let them in with like crazy designs on their clothes. You had to let them in with sneakers because Ed Hardy and stuff like that, that style smet, Ed Hardy affliction, that sort of rocker, MMA, biker type look had took over. And then it just faded away. Christian Audigier has sold it, or the estate, somebody, because I believe he had died. I think it got sold to like Diesel or something. I don't know. It got sold somewhere. And then that was it. It just went away. You saw some Ed Hardy here and there at like your Ross and TJ Maxx and stuff like that. Then it just sort of went away. And it's crazy. You know, it's like True Religion. I seen True Religion have a sale on their website. The jeans were $47. We were paying $350, $450 for True Religion jeans. Rock Republics. You weren't there. You weren't outside. Who am I talking to on this podcast? That's what I want to know. Who am I talking to? I know a lot of y'all are like, oh, I remember that. No, you don't. We were going to the club in $450 jeans, $280 hoodies way back then. I know you want to go outside with your purple jeans and your Amiri and all that. Cat's been doing it. Yes, maybe the t-shirts weren't $800, but they were a lot at the time, at the moment. This off-white being at Costco, let me tell you something. This is just the beginning. These brands cannot, these luxury street brands, they cannot compete with your Shein and your Fashion Nova. They can't compete with them. You guys are buying that stuff, that garbage, at a high rate, and you're pulling off the same aesthetic, the same look. That's the thing. The name isn't holding as much weight. The style is where the weight is. If I could achieve that exact same look that this higher end street brand is offering, but I could achieve it for total, the shirt, the pants, the undershirt, the belt for $120, but over here it's about $900, they're going to always go with this. You're going to see it a lot more. Off-white hoodies, that just little run right there, or however many were at Costco, it has devalued the off-white brand, seeing it out on the streets a lot. Devalue it. If you think you're killing it on your off-white hoodie, you're not anymore. It doesn't even matter how much you paid for it. It doesn't matter if you paid $900 for yours. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. It's been devalued. Once you, as a brand, come out with, I guess, a lesser of the brand, I don't know what you want to call it, it devalues it. I'm going to tell you this story. And this was me hating. This is me hating. But I wasn't wrong. But I was hating. I remember me and my wife had went to this birthday party, right? Some of the most annoying people ever. You know, I'm sorry, it wasn't even a birthday party. It was a Christmas party. No, I'm sorry, a Halloween party. It was a Christmas party. Whatever it was. I think it was a Christmas party or a Halloween party, but at the exact same time, it was like the dad's birthday or birthday week or something. So the wife wanted to sort of like, hey, since we're all already here for this Christmas party, this is also a surprise party for her husband. Yay, everybody, let's go outside. Now, I've already given you the disclosure. I was hating, but I wasn't wrong. Everybody, let's go outside. And we standing outside, and I can't even remember how it was. I don't think if she raised the garage or drove it out, and it was a Maserati. Of course, if you don't pay attention to a lot of things, you're, oh, whoa, oh my gosh. I mean, you should have seen the people, right? Now, I know most of them in their minds are thinking like, you did this to show off. It's just really pretentious, right? Pretentious? I looked at that Maserati and was like, God dang, a Maserati. What the? Man, get this out of here. It was like the Maserati that was like $69,000. I'm not going to sit here and act like $69,000 isn't a lot of money, but it ain't the Maserati that everybody think it is. I was hating. I went, oh man, that's the lower end Maserati. I was hating. But once Maserati decided to come out with a lower end Maserati, it devalues the Maserati name. Now, when you see a Maserati, you don't go like, ooh, a Maserati. You go, that might be the lower end one. If you come walking up to me wearing an off-white hoodie, I'm not like, dang, off-white. I go, so I don't mean nothing because they got off-white at Costco. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking to myself. Maybe no one's listening. Maybe no one gets what I'm saying. Maybe I'm making no sense. But don't be surprised when you start seeing a lot more of these higher end brands that were at the top at one point in these more accessible stores. Don't be shocked if you see essentials at Costco next. Shoot, don't be shocked if you see essentials at Target. Maybe I'm talking. Maybe I'm just talking. Maybe my thought process is a little bit different. Maybe I'm a fool. I don't know. And you know what? Ben Baller was right. You know, I know me and Ben Baller have had our little things back and forth, but I've always acknowledged when people are right, when people are wrong, etc. And he was right. Now, I don't know exactly how this came about. I think it was a tweet. And obviously, all these blogs and pages want to like add a little twang to it. You know, they want to make it seem like something. But well, from what I saw, it sounded like he was basically saying that like Virgil wouldn't want this. And I 1000% agree. Like, Virgil is probably turning over in his grave right now. And I mean that respectfully. You don't go from Paris and Louis Vuitton fashion shows and statues in Paris and rubbing shoulders with Ralph Lauren and Chanel. You don't go from that to Costco. I know he wouldn't want this. I know this wasn't in the plans. Ben Baller is 100% right. Then I see Off-White. Oh, this is another topic. Then, you know, obviously with all the mix of everything going on with Off-White at Costco, etc., I seen that Kid Cudi is coming out with his own Off-White capsule. Look like some clothes and like maybe a sneaker. God bless. It ain't Kid Cudi's fault. If Kid Cudi gets approached by a brand and they say, hey, we want to do this, get your money, young man. Get your money. Now, uh, Kid Cudi was just in the jury booth testifying at the Diddy trial. Nothing for anything he was doing wrong. I mean, you know, he was trying to convince everybody that Diddy was trying to assassinate him. No need for me to dig into that. But these brands need to stop going to the well. I mean, the old influencer cultural mover well. Stop going to that well. Kid Cudi, I'm going to say legend. I really don't believe it in my heart, but I'm also not super duper versed in anything Kid Cudi that isn't tied to Kanye. That's my Kid Cudi relationship. And I don't know if Kid Cudi's contributions are strong enough for me to be like, Kid Cudi is a legend. Kid Cudi is a phenomenal actor. Kid Cudi is musically gifted. Kid Cudi is just a cool cat. Legend? I'm sorry, I'm off track. I'm getting off track. We gotta stop going to, I'll say, Kid Cudi, even though no one goes to him often, but he's included in this since Off-White wants to bring him to the table. Kid Cudi, Kanye, Don C, Um, I'll even throw in Fragment Man. I'll throw in Kaz. Ooh, I'll stop there. I don't want to get too out of control. We gotta stop going to these cats. Like, we just have to. I get it. Some people, uh, they can't let go of the past. Even the people who are versed in Kid Cudi knowledge and doing aren't interested in it. I know one super Kid Cudi fan, and that's the homie Mark. Shout out to Mark. I don't know any Kid Cudi super fans. I know they're out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not naive. I know they're out there. But an Off-White collaboration with Off-White, Kid Cudi? What? I don't want that. Nobody wants that. Put that in Costco. Kid Cudi collaboration. Lord have mercy. I think that's all I got for the Off-White topic. I don't know. I don't want to talk about Costco ever again this year, but based off of what's happening, I think we're going to be talking about Costco a little bit more this year. I really do. You're going to start seeing some other things in there because obviously they've they got some stuff behind the scenes in the works, and you're just saying, "Well, I haven't seen one post at all year, like of any leaks, of any I heard, or none of it." The most I've seen is a lot of frauds. There's a lot of fraud people on the internet that love to act connected after the fact. After some information drops, then they go, "Ooh, I've been wanting to tell y'all." They're frauds. They're liars. Those might be some of the most annoying people on social media. I have a list, and I've gone over that list for the last 10 years on this podcast, but I'm going to add this one to the list. It's the fraudulent insiders. The fraudulent insider is the guy that after the information drops, after the sneaker drops, after the official news drops, then they go, "Whew, I'm glad that information finally came out because I've been wanting to talk about it." They like to act like they were in the know before that information dropped. They're frauds. You see it all the time on social media. I would say a few names, but I just don't feel like it. I haven't said anything about these people in a while, so I'm not going to today. Doesn't mean I haven't changed, because I would do it in a second. I just don't feel like it today. But those people are weirdos. Let's talk about Jeff Staple. All right. Jeff Staple. Yeah. Jeff Staple, in the news recently he was on a podcast recently for his take with regards to the brick by brick Jordan 4 Nigel Sylvester as being considered sneaker of the year. And I put emphasis on that consider, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Jeff Staple was on a podcast. I didn't see the name of the podcast, or I would say it on here and give them credit. I didn't see it anywhere. I looked for it a couple times. I didn't see it. Did I probably do a deep dive? No, but I didn't see it on the little information that I did research. Okay. So I apologize. All right. I get sick and tired of people. I credit everybody, but it's like the one time you don't credit somebody like, "Hey, bro, I said that on my show." Buddy, I saw that scrolling through the Explorer on IG. I didn't pay attention to where it came from. God bless. Jeff Staple made the statement on the podcast, and I'm going to read it because I want to make sure it's exact. Jeff Staples said, and I quote, and he formed it in a question, which means that he was probably asked something prior. I don't know, but I don't know, whatever. How is sneaker of the year a different color of a 30-year-old sneaker? And Jeff Staples is right. And it's also like, who cares? Now, let me talk about the right, why Jeff Staples is right first, before I get into the who cares. Okay? Jeff Staples is right because, and we've talked about it every year of this podcast that we've done sneaker awards. It's always really hard to say something is sneaker of the year when it's been retroed a ton of times or when you just throw a new colorway on it. And the reason why that's hard is because, and we'll use the brick by brick, for example. If that brick by brick wasn't brick red, if it was a dark orange, if it was a green, a blue, a yellow, a purple, magenta, fuchsia, gold, whatever colors you want to throw on it with the same materials, the same sort of aesthetic, the same rollout, etc., it probably would have won sneaker of the year still. Been considered sneaker of the year. You can do that with a lot of stuff. It's like he's right. Like, it shouldn't be considered sneaker of the year. It's fine that it is. And I know we put it in our nominations for our award show as well, which I'm going to talk about award shows in a second. But it really shouldn't be. Now, if you want to branch it off, Jordan of the Year, which we do, and things like that, that's fine. But the sneaker came out in 1989. I think the thing is why I keep saying that people aren't paying attention in sneakers is because, and I'm going to talk about that with Nike. I'm going to talk about that towards the end when I get into some Frank Cooke stuff. I don't want to bring that point up now. I just thought about it right now. So, man, I'm trying to figure out how to approach this without getting into what I just brought up right now, because I think I want to save that for the Frank Cooke topic. Jeff Staples is 100% right. The thing is that it's perfectly fine to still care about a sneaker from 1989. They keep retroing it. It's okay to still care about an Air Max 95. It's okay to still care about a Jordan 4, a 1 through 4, 1 through 14, 1 through 20, however high you want to go through Jordans. It's okay to still care about the retro aspect of Nike and Jordan brand. It's okay to still care about it. The problem is that we care about it way too much in 2026. Jeff Staples is right. Brick by brick shouldn't be considered, and I put emphasis on that, considered, sneaker of the year due to the fact of, if you throw another fire colorway on a Jordan 4, what's going to stop it from being considered sneaker of the year next year or next year? Now, I'm not sitting here saying that it should be a whole new model or anything like that. I'm not saying that, because we've sort of boxed ourselves into this like retro aspect of it. We've convinced ourselves that, like, You can only wear Jordans with jeans. You can't wear this basketball sneaker with jeans, but you can wear this old basketball sneaker with jeans. We've already reprogrammed ourselves and our thoughts on how we feel about sneakers. So I'm not going to sit there and tell you that a all brand new, whole brand new silhouette should be the only ones considered for sneaker of the year. I'm not going to say that. I'm not even going to tell you what the answer is. I'm not even going to really say that I feel like Brick by Brick shouldn't be considered for sneaker of the year, but it should be. It's a weird thing. But Jeff Staple was not wrong. Now, I get it. It's coming across as hate. All right. Jeff Staple has sort of, hold out the staple colorway, color palette, pigeon, onto everything. And that's within his right. That is his brand and whatnot. And it has been done successfully on a lot of sneakers that people, sort of overlooked or whatnot. I think I recently saw Brooks. Was it Socket? I think it was a Brooks collaboration with Staple. That joint was fire. And I looked on the website to see how much it was on StockX, and it was high. There's some Jeff Staple pigeons, the Mosh joints. There are a few things that have come out with the Staple colorways and stuff on it that has been absolute fire. So like I said, Jeff Staple is right, but it's like, who cares? Now, the other aspect of this, the reason why I say who cares is because, and I put this comment on Twitter, and I've said this a few times this year, I don't understand why people think sneaker of the year is real. It's not a real thing. Now, I get it. Universally, sneaker culture has somehow dubbed Complex Con's sneaker panel as the end all to be all on the determination on what sneaker of the year. I have no idea why. Because it absolutely means nothing. It's not real. It's content. All shows, podcasts, including ours, all anything sneaker award related, sneaker of the year, runner of the year, collaboration of the year, all that stuff is just content. It's not real. So Jeff Staple making this statement with regard to the Brick by Brick shouldn't be sneaker of the year because it's a 30-year-old sneaker with a different color. He's right, but his comment really doesn't matter because it's like, buddy, it really isn't sneaker of the year. This isn't real. Complex has just created a capitalistic platform to draw you guys in to spend money. And I'm not hating on it. That's what you're supposed to do. You're a business. That's what you do. And if you got the people who want it, you give it to them. But for whatever reason, it has become the end all to be all in everything sneaker related. Sneaker of the year, sneaker content, it has become that for whatever reason. And it is piss poor quality content. SneakerCon looks fire. I'm not going to hate on that. That looks fire. But what goes down there with regards to content that's being created is not the end all to be all in sneakers. So Jeff Staple making that statement is just like, buddy, who cares? It's not real. It shouldn't even be on your radar of thought. It's not real. And those who telling me like, bro, you hating. No, it's not real. Our sneaker award show that we do, it's not real either. Now let's talk about, could you make it real? Sure. I feel like we talked about this a little while ago, and I think I made a different point on how you can make it real. But I think I have a better point on how you can make awards like Sneaker of the Year, Collaboration of the Year, Adidas of the Year, and all that real. Now, this is going to take a platform, and if it's complex, it's complex. God bless. Nice kicks, okay. BR Kicks, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, whatever, I don't care. Barstool, whomever. If somebody wanted to actually put in the effort and the work to make sneaker awards like Sneaker of the Year and etc. a real thing, sort of like the Emmys, Oscar, like an end all to be all, now obviously not as granular as the Emmys and Oscars, but you get the point I'm trying to make. then you have to have the brands involved. The brands have to be involved, meaning that it is a goal of each brand every year to make or provide something that they want to submit to be considered sneaker of the year, runner of the year, basketball sneaker of the year, collaboration of the year, whatever the case may be. The brands have to be involved. And if you don't put a submission in, then you can't be considered. I think if each brand put in 2 nominees for sneaker of the year to be considered, it should be 1, but I'm just going to say 2 just for podding, then those should be the only ones that be considered sneaker of the year. I don't feel like the general streets and the consumer has the understanding or grasp on reality to make that decision on their own. Sorry, that may sound a little rude or maybe even be a little offensive, but I'm talking about me too. There's a lot of sneakers that are much better than the brick by brick. A lot. There are a lot of sneakers every single year that get overlooked where you go, God dang, that joint is fire. When did it drop? You just don't know. You don't pay attention to it. And this isn't to take anything from the brick by brick, but like I said, if you want to make a sneaker award show real, the brands have to be involved. I would love to see Nike at the top of the year making posts, marketing, we got sneaker of the year. I would love to see Adidas like sneaker of the year is ours. Then it could be real. Then it could be official. Then you could make opinions and comments on the decision made for that without it just being like, well, the streets have chosen. No, that's not how it works. That's what makes award shows and stuff like that come on TV on the national level legit. Yo, you think he really should have won? You think that should have won movie of the year? Really? You could have a real discussion on it. That movie was submitted to be in consideration for movie of the year. It was voted as movie of the year based on whatever the criteria was. And it is officially movie of the year. If you have something where a brand submits, we're going to submit this brick by brick for sneaker of the year, and it gets voted in based off whatever criteria and consider sneaker of the year, then the brick by brick will officially be the sneaker of the year, and then you can have all your discussions you want. But anything else besides that is just content. It's just my 2 cents on that. Let's talk about Frank Cooke. Frank Cooke, sneaker designer. I think he was with Nike for a long time at one point, then at some point left, went elsewhere. I don't know ins and outs of his life, don't really care. And then he came back to Nike last year, I think. I don't know. Ever since he's been back to Nike, I think we did an episode talking about something with him. I can't remember, but ever since he's been back, he's been quite busy on social media. Now, I don't know if that was part of his thing with Nike on, how to get buzz and things back into it, but he's, leaked pictures of Air Force Ones, leaked pictures of sneakers, hinted at things coming back, He's done a lot of mysterious stuff on social media. He's done some just outright holding up sneakers on social media, etc. Recently, he just posted a picture of these 2 sneakers. From what I heard, they're women's sneakers. They're laceless sneakers. I think they're called First Sight Shadows. I think that's right. I may be having some of the words mixed up. And basically, he put on that post like something along the lines that these better be considered a top 10 contender for sneaker of the year. Something along those lines. Let's talk about the shoe first. And I'm pretty sure I got the graphic on the screen. You can look at it right there. It's ridiculous. It's awful. It's a ridiculous sneaker in so many levels. those who online who wanted to say these are fire, or these go crazy, or these are hard, are 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 just not in tuned with anything as far as I'm concerned. It's a laceless shoe with one of the oddest shapes ever, and it's for women. I couldn't imagine a single woman walking down the street wearing those. Anybody. You've seen people like, bro, it's different. You guys have totally desensitized yourself to sneakers. Like, you've been desensitized, which is crazy because like sneaker culture is like, no joke, it's like California gang culture. It's like you're all into sneakers, but there's like these little fractions in sneaker culture of just opinions and nonsense. You're so desensitized to Jordan 1s and 3s and Air Maxes and all this stuff that anything that comes out that's remotely, dramatically different, your attention is grabbed. This is an awful sneaker. It shouldn't have the attention of anybody. It looks like it has zero functionality. It has an odd shape. There's nothing for you here. Now, as I've said numerous times on this podcast, I always appreciate the effort. Always. If this is a sample for something else, yo, cool. Now let's go ahead and rein it in a little bit. I feel like Frank Cooke, since he's been back with Nike, has spent way too much time on social media teasing sneakers, teasing possibilities, teasing what ifs, than actually focusing on let's get something back on track. Once you start championing, did I say it? Once you start, you know, approving these type of sneakers, you're saying goodbye to all history. You can't create a history from a sneaker that looks like that. You can't create a history from a GT Future. You just can't. Because that type of stuff isn't hitting off like these brands want it to. They're trying. Don't get me wrong. They are trying, but it's not building a history. Nike is a history building company. That's why a sneaker from 1989 is the top of discussion, the brick by brick on why it's sneaker of the year, because they have a history. You're not going to build a history with this nonsense. I seen someone like it's innovation. Okay. If you want to say it's design innovation, that's fine. But you're going to have to ease into it. You can't go all in with something like this. Add some of that design innovation into something that's a little bit more familiar to the consumer. That's how you get that innovation out there. You can't just jump out the window with this. And then his statement. And here's the thing, right? I don't know who he's talking to. I don't know. I know who he's talking to. He's talking to Complex. Yo, this better be in contention for sneaker of the year. And since Complex is a conglomerate of weak individuals and weak minds, they'll have it in the top 10 as sneaker of the year because they don't have the guts not to. If Frank Cooke from Nike says this better be considered, oh, best believe Complex is going to have it in the top 10. Oh, believe it. Their thing is like, well, we'll just put it around between 10 and 7. They're not going to make it number 1, but they're definitely going to put it in there. And that's why Frank Cooke will get online and say something like that, because he knows that they don't have the guts not to not consider it. I appreciate that from him because it's on the right track. That's what brands should do. That's how you make actual awards like Sneaker of the Year and stuff like that real. Nike is too busy trying to be different that they're not focusing on building history. They already got a legacy. They got a history. But Nike is a brand that wants to be here forever. Nike isn't a brand that's like going to just wrap this up at some point. In order to keep that and build that history, you have to be able to build something that's going to be attractive to the younger audience. You are. As of right now, there are way too many mid-30s, 40s, and 50-year-olds talking about sneakers. Way too much. And me, including myself, me, my beard's gray, me. I'm in a closet surrounded by sneakers talking about sneakers. Me, I'm too old to be the ones who care about this stuff, because guess what? The youngins don't care about it. If you mean to tell me, Frank Cooke, that what you got in this graphic down below, wherever I put it, if you mean to tell me that you think the younger generation is going to be like, ooh, you're going to have to prove it. These brands, they want to try hard, but they don't even know how to try at this point. I'm too old for this. Frank Cooke, I need you to chill out with the social media teasers. And I think he got in trouble. I think I seen him post something like, oops, they told me not to. Good. Pull him in. Rein him in. Like, when it comes to, let's say that's the final product. When it comes to a sneaker like that looks that unique, you can't tease it to the public at all. At all. You have to just roll it out. I'm talking about the week that it's about to drop. If you're about to drop it on Saturday, the rollout starts on Sunday the previous week. That's when you start. Because if you develop something that is such a dramatically different look than any other sneaker that we've ever seen, you're going to give us all a reason. You're going to do one of two things. Those who like it, you're going to give them a reason to continue to look at it and find a reason why they don't like it anymore. For those who absolutely dislike it, you're just going to give them the runway to just talk bad about it until it finally releases. I appreciate the effort from Frank Cooke, from Nike, Adidas, and these brands, but you are going to have to go back to the drawing board. I know y'all love to use iPad pens and all this stuff. Get a chalkboard, roll it into the boardroom, and just get to writing. Close everybody's laptops, get some notepads and some pencils, and get to writing. What can we do to create new history? Because everybody cares way too much about our past history. How do we create new history without jumping out the window? That's your homework. And I'm a nobody. Well, I'm a somebody. Don't get me wrong. I think very highly of myself. I'm very arrogant when I'm right and when I want to be. So don't get it twisted with there. But anyways, I don't know. I'm dragging this along now. I appreciate everybody who likes, subscribe, share this podcast. I hope this episode gets you just a little bit closer to the end of the week, to your weekend, so you can enjoy and have yourself. Yo, shout out to the homie Taji. Local homie had a party this week. Super duper phenomenal concept. It was called Boarding Pass. We went to the party, me and the homies. He gave us actual passports that he stamped, and we're supposed to bring those to his next party. Fire. Fire concept. It was good to see a lot of people we ain't seen in a really, really long time. But I appreciate those who are putting effort out there to do things within the community and amongst people and, continue to, sort of bring people closer together. There's a lot of stuff going on in this world right now. So it was fun to just get out there and laugh and be with people and, that we haven't seen in a really long time. I've seen people at that party I haven't seen in 20 years. And when you're not on the scene as much as some people, you kind of wonder, man, I wonder if people remember me. Man, handshakes, hugs, and daps all around, and I loved it. So shout out to the homie Taji. Whenever the next party is, I will be there for certain. Anything that I can do to help out, always let me know. Once again, I appreciate everybody who likes, subscribe, share this podcast, and that is the Sneak This. Pow!